Hello, everyone, and welcome to my BCM 217 documentary pitch. So, today we're pitching a documentary on the Port Kembla Rugby League Club, also known as the Port Kembla Blacks, and the documentary is called Saving the Blacks. So, my single line synopsis: with a 110-year-old club on the brink of folding, the Port Kembla Rugby League Club's future hinges on the current crop of under 18s players as they play to save the Blacks. So there's my simple paragraph synopsis. So the club is one of the most successful in country New South Wales. They've won 24 premierships in the Illawarra Rugby League, which is third most behind Scone and West Tamworth across country rugby league competitions in New South Wales. However, the gentrification of the suburb, the loss of their Leeds club, and the rise of other powerful sporting clubs in the area has seen this once mighty powerhouse of Illawarra footy move close to the edge of sporting oblivion. So the future hinges on the current under 18s team and the idea, can they produce enough senior footballers to keep the club going? So the treatment. So to make the documentary, the key things we have to do, I want interviews with former player John Simon, who went on to represent New South Wales in State of Origin and kicked a winning field goal at the MCG in 1997. So very famous player, and he's the current coach of the under 18 side. And Richard Veltis, who's a club president, so he's heavily involved with everything. He's basically kept them afloat, Richard. He's a great bloke, and he's done a lot of work for the footy club. I also want to get some archival footage of 1970s and 80s grand final appearances, archival footage of John and Craig Simon's careers in the NRL, so Craig's John's brother. Past team photographs, there's plenty of them floating around, but we'll have to track them down because they all got moved out of the Leagues Club last year when it closed down. Photos showing the changing nature of Port Kembla, like then and now photographs. Graphics on club history and statistics we can incorporate throughout that, and footage of a competition match for the side this year, the under 18s team. So my mode. So when analysing my concept using Nichols' theory, I came up with the idea it sort of fits the participatory mode. So it fits that because there will be active engagement in the form of interviews with the subjects, and it's differentiated from the performative mode because we want to establish objective truth to the story rather than let everyone establish their subjective truths. There are objective truths to why this has happened, and we want to come up with a sort of a plot. Follow the story arc of this under 18s team through the early part of the season and how they're going to move into the future and save this club. And in terms of de Bromhead's theory, it'd be shot in linear mode. So the main story arc is that the football club could fold, and it's one of the most historic and successful in the region. If the club's in a healthy position, it'd be more just a discursive film looking at the operations of the club and a match day. So ethical considerations include not showing internal team discussions are not authorised by the team manager or coach, such as tactics. Also, for players being criticised for their performance, stuff like that happens inside the dressing rooms that we're not authorised to show. Like if they say to film, that's all good. But if there's something like that, we'll obviously edit that out. I want to be careful in addressing the broader social problems and change of the Port Kembla, Warrawong, Kembla sort of area. It's had some social change over the years and some social problems, and that is probably something we will look at, but I don't know how I'll incorporate that yet. But the footy club is obviously very important to that community. It's the biggest asset they have. And ensuring that all players are comfortable with being part of the documentary and gaining position from opposition players and the opposition club they face on the match day that we go and film, permission for us to film the game. So there's 4 sources of inspiration, but 2 are sort of from the same thing. So there's a final quarter, which I'll get to, West Wyalong knockout feature, Corowa feature, and Southside story. So we'll start with the Ladbrokes one. So that's West Wyalong and Corowa features. So sports betting agency Ladbrokes has produced a number of short documentary style films about regional footy teams in both rugby league and Australian rules. Central to these films are interviews with club presidents, players, and coaches. And these films will be the primary inspiration for how I was going to lay out my documentary on the club. So we'd interview people, we'd get a bit of match footage, we'd get, the team going 1, 2, 3 Blacks, when they emerge from the huddle, stuff like that. Southside Story is another major inspiration to me. This is probably one of my favourite documentary series of all time. So it's a 6-part television documentary series produced by the ABC in 2007, which follows a takeover and privatisation of the South Sydney Rabbitohs by actor Russell Crowe and businessman Peter Holmes at Court. So it details the struggle of the club. There was a big vote on privatisation, which required 75% of the football club members to vote yes. Basically, 75% of the club then became the property of those two men, with 37.5% each, and the members then owned 25%. So very controversial, but they documented that. They documented the team's performances through the season. We had a bit more money, and we actually made the finals in 07 for the first time in 18 years since our 89 finals campaign. So if you can't tell, I'm a massive South Sydney fan. And so this is where I got the idea of documenting footy club from, and is one of the biggest reasons I'm a South super fan to today. I had got the book of that went with this documentary, and it was just amazing to, read about and watch. And final case study I have is The Final Quarter, which is a documentary that focuses on the final 3 years of Indigenous AFL star Adam Goode's career and his struggle with racist abuse from spectators and officials in the game, which included constant booing for like weeks on end. It's composed entirely of press conferences, newspaper headlines, and television recordings without any interviews. And it was from this film that I incorporated the notion of using newspaper headlines and news clips about the Port Kembla side, then and now photographs. Those are sort of ideas that have come from watching this, and hopefully they'll be available in places such as online and in libraries. All right, and finally, production and crew roles. So someone will have to do a bit more research and stuff like that, and that's something I'd love to do because I love researching footy clubs. We need a cameraman. We need someone to conduct interviews as well, so those two will sort of work together. Bit of graphic design would be needed, to do graphics and stuff and transitions within the film. Someone to edit and post-produce it, and then a narrator if necessary. That's something I just thought of we might have. So, yeah. And just moving on now, I've got a couple of bits of proof of concept. So you can see me travelling around to a couple of different sites. So we'll go to that now. This is Noel Mulligan Oval in Port Kembla. Well, it's actually just in Warrawong, just over the boundary of the suburb. It's the home of the Port Kembla Blacks. There's a sign, seen better days, located directly behind the goalposts. So that is Noel Mulligan Oval in Port Kembla. That's pretty much there is to it, but this is our main location. I obviously couldn't get in here, and there is no training on tonight. That's why it's all dark, but this is where we'd be shooting the live footage, or the game footage. So I'm up here on the top of the Warrawong Plaza car park, and this rooftop car park actually overlooks the corner of Noel Mulligan Oval, in through the corner over that sign that's a bit dilapidated there in front of us. So what I was thinking is a nice cheap way to get a high shot without buying a drone or going to that sort of length is to film from up here. We could film, teams warming up, spectators starting to file into the ground for a game, and that could be the opening shot of our documentary. So here we have probably the saddest side of them all, the Port Kembla Leagues Club. This would be a key part of our documentary. We'd probably interview the club president out the front of here. That's probably how important this is to the storyline. So this was once a massive functioning leagues club, and supported Port Kembla in their heyday when they won their 24 first grade premierships. Obviously went downhill, was purchased by Collegians, and has subsequently gone under financially and been shut down.